Hi, I'm Jessica Link, Volunteer Coordinator at the Cedar Rapids Public Library, and this is a training video for our holds hunters and sorter room assistants on some new processing of our holds. We'd like to start this training video with talking about why we're making these changes. About a year ago, we started working with a consultant on improving our holds process for the sake of our patrons. One of the things that we started to discover was that a lot of times holds that our volunteers were pulling were winding up in different bins and going to the wrong libraries. That had nothing to do with the work of our volunteers, and it had everything to do with the way the sorter was processing those materials. After a lot of research, we discovered the best way around this was to work around the sorter and just avoid the sorter. So that's why we're doing this, to increase our availability for our holds for the patrons, to get them to them faster, and to increase our accuracy in getting the holds where they need to go and in those patrons' hands quicker. So first, let's take a look at what these changes mean for our holds hunters. For the most part, most of your process does not change. The change comes when you actually have the holds and you're ready to process them. So when you bring your cart back, the first part you'll do is, instead of putting them on the sorter, you're going to take them over, and you have two options. Number one, if you have enough time, you can go ahead and process them yourself. Number two, if you don't have enough time, you can go ahead and put them in the holds bin for someone to process at a later time. So as the hold hunter, I have my cart and I do have time, so I'm going to go ahead and process them. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of the materials that I've pulled from the shelves, and just like regular, I'm going to put it on the scanner there. And you'll see a slip printed out, and it's a little different than our regular slips. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Instead, it's going to go ahead and print the date and time, but then it's going to say transit to and the library that that material is going to. And again, I'm going to see the item ID on here. So what I'm going to do, just like our regular holds, is I'm going to go ahead and open that, put it in there, and since this is going to a different library, I'm going to go ahead and just put it on the cart and take it down to that bin in a little bit. I'm going to continue with my next material. And this is one of our regular holds. It goes on our regular shelves for patrons in this library. And again, nothing changed on these. You'll see these lists still look the same. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on this card just like I always would, in alphabetical order here. Let's talk about what we do with the transits that actually do go to the other libraries. So now that I've got my last one here, I'm scanning it. I'm going to put it in the thing, and it says it goes to Marion. So now I've got different files down here representing the different libraries, and I'm going to take them down to the actual transit totes. So now I've got my cart down here, and I'm going to be putting them in the different totes for the different libraries. And you can see right on here, it makes it very easy which library it goes to, and you can see the corresponding colors over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in. If you ever have questions about this, feel free to ask any staff member. We'll be happy to help. So I've got my transits here, and these go to CRPL West, which is LAD, the yellow tote. I'm going to set them in here. I've got a couple that go to Marion, which is red. I'm going to set them in here. If for some reason this was full, I could always just put it in the bins right next to the sorter, and we'll move them later. And then finally, Hiawatha's got a lot of light reading coming up, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in the Hiawatha bins. And now those materials will go to the right library and to the right patrons so much faster. At the downtown library, there is one other satellite library we need to talk about, and that's Mercy Watts over at Mercy Medical Center. If you have any slips that print out that say to Mercy, they actually come over here into these Mercy Watt transit totes. It can go into either one. If you're at LAD and you see any Mercy items, they're going to actually go to downtown. So you can just put that in the bin to come downtown. So that's it for our holds hunter positions. But let's talk about how this might impact our sorter room assistants. And basically, you've already heard everything you need to know. We just want to make sure that you know this might impact you. You might come to the holds bin and print something, only to find that it's a transit slip. And then you need to know what to do with those items. And that's it for our holds hunters and our sorter room assistants. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any staff member or come see me. We'd be happy to help.